Hello guys, how's it going? So, as of the time I'm making this video, as of today, I'm basically living some of the most difficult times ever for me, that I have ever lived, basically. I'm basically insanely broke, and when for me that was never the case. I was always kept something for sideways, basically, something that was always kept and never spent, and it was just in case. I decided to do something with my life, basically, and trying to, let's say, invest those things, those at the other side. And so this is more like of a video of like saying that I decided to do it because I decided to dare my own comfort, basically. I don't know if that makes sense. And essentially, I didn't want to have just comfort. I wanted to have more comfort, if that makes any sense, by essentially not having everything the way it is standing, and with a very small discomfort everything gets ruined. So basically being comforting but at the same time being on fire. Basically that is the sensation, basically, or the idea. But rather it's more like of making an attempt to learn, basically, that hey, if something goes wrong, might as well adapt myself and learn how to think for myself, and basically learn how to use my critical thinking to get out of situations that in other ways I could not. And basically when we face adversity, that entire thing, the challenge, makes us, of course, think. Of course, I need to find myself ways to survive, right? And so I'm making this video basically to say that I'm very grateful that I was able to make such challenge for myself, and say that I was more than aware that everything can go downhill and I could potentially lose more than I could essentially calculate at first. But I'm doing this because I have this thing that I say to myself constantly, almost these last years, basically. The last, I should say, 4, close to 5 years, that I'm very grateful for everything happened, that I'm very grateful for everything that happened to me the way it did. And basically I keep reminding to myself this particular message, that if I happen to pass out, to essentially die, right here, right now, I would be perfectly satisfied with my life, because whatever I ever wanted to do, I'm basically done. And so, in a way, the last few years I'm living a blank life where I don't really have any strong purpose or a particular way of me that I want to live, other than just doing the things that I always did. Keep myself healthy, going to the gym, basically, study as much as I can, get as wise as I can, being sophisticated as I can, and basically keeping my relationship strong and healthy, and who knows, maybe for common stuff like that in a way, but also not really. And so I decided to make this decision to get into the chaos and make myself adaptive, to hard situations when it comes to things that I never knew, such as trying to earn more income in a way. And so the thing is that I don't know, for the most part, what I'm doing, and still I don't know what am I supposed to do. But I decided to take that road and just say, you know what, let's just try more with my thing. Let's just try and do more for the sake of it, for the fun of it, because it's one of the things that I wanted to try, and basically not having regrets or possible regrets for such decision, because I never knew what it is for you to try and make more money. Or I don't want to be the guy who just constantly stays at the sidelines and never do anything with his with his income and basically let years pass by. When at the same time I'm living a life that I always wanted to do. And for the most part, I really do think I want to live a more exciting life in a way, a more in a way present life that has a lot of challenges. And I'm saying this because until I get to that point where I could say that, you know what, I'm satisfied with my life the way it is right now. Life was full of challenges, of course, and there was a moment, or not just moment, many months or years I could say, where everything was perfect. And the thing is that I made it perfect because I learned to be skillful. I adapted the skill of just learning how to make great relationships, or handling pressure more, or just stay calm, or just making myself convince myself that I could do things even though everything else seemed to be against me. And so trying to be adaptive in situations where I thought that I could probably lose everything, and it's not really that much of a big deal now that I see those moments that I thought were important. But earlier, when I didn't know anything, I didn't know how to grow up, I didn't know how to make relationships. Basically, back then was huge of importance to just stay calm for the most part and just do whatever I can, or more, probably. And so, for me, there were 3 tipping points that I could essentially talk about each one of those tipping points in every video separately. But the main idea is that I had 2 things I ever wanted to do in my life, and I was thinking about those 2 things when I was close to 5 or 6 years old, and I managed to do them basically at the age of 12 or 13, the one of the 2, and 18 to 19 years old, the other thing. And unexpectedly, out of nowhere, I happened to find another amazing quality of life, a third one, just by living. And close at I think at the year of 2022 was the year that I was completely dumbfounded. In the sense of that was the period that I decided to learn more about Eastern philosophy and basically Eastern culture in general, and learn a lot about, in a way, Buddhism and Taoism, and a little bit about Hindu, but basically those things for the most part, and learn a lot about their way of living and basically the teachings of what these religions basically have to offer. And some of these individuals that really helped me was Thich Nhat Hanh, was Krishnamurti, and my personal absolute favorite philosopher, of all time to me, is Alan Watts, basically. He was a guy that essentially tried to be the bridge between Western and Eastern philosophy, and give the Westerners, for the most part, the idea of how Easterners lives and how crazy Westerners seems when it comes to Easterners' ways of life, in a way. So anyways, I learned that there's a thing that we call mystical experience, and in many ways this is probably translated into many other vocabularies in a way. And so one way that this can be translated into is basically Satori in Zen, or enlightenment in a way. And so that is a concept that I'm probably going to explain in another video for my own. So I want to say based on all those things, that I lived the 3 things that I ever wanted to live, the 2, and then the third basically became one of my favorite experiences ever and wisdoms that I ever achieved. And based on that, I was just living some quiet, calm years, very pleasant years, that I was also the most present I've ever been, the most satisfied, the most healthy, by basically doing the exact same things, just by having the things that I always wanted to do. And so I decided to make the statement to say that basically that all those things together that I really appreciated, beyond those things, with those things and beyond them, of course, have given to me the, in a way, ultimate experience to say that, you know what, I lived the life that I always wanted to live. I thought that life could be way worse, but it turned out much, much, much more beautiful than I ever thought. And so I decided to make this, let's say, attempt to make more money, and by basically risking everything I've got, to say to myself basically that there's nothing to be afraid of. Absolutely not. That is the point. You should try to use our income as a tool, at least in my opinion. And I have the luxury of just saying, you know what, I lived my personal ultimate experience in this life. So there's basically nothing for me to lose. I've lived everything I ever want to live. So I'm basically someone who not only has nothing to lose basically, but also has just only to testify and make attempts and learn based on that, and not taking this process so entirely seriously. And so this is my thing, basically, that I'm just so glad that I try to do more things, such as this small channel, such as try to do more things and go out of my way to meet new people, because life is so damn short. And there's always the regret of just, if you know something is not worth, why do it in the first place? And so I think I'm gonna say that I could do some one or two stupid things to say, okay, I did that stupid thing. Now I have no, in a way, it's not a wonder to me anymore, some one or two stupid things. But for the most part, I think I've managed to be able to make great decisions that, for the most part, was able to compound in a way. And so I just try to basically live the rest of my life more, let's say, bravely, if that makes sense, with some risk, but not entirely. But the point is that if something positive comes out of this, it would be, okay, a plus into my life. I also did that. I dared to do such thing, to invest in me, basically. But also, if I don't, I just dared to do things in my life that I thought in the first place that were risky in my mind, but really they're not. For example, I'm very happy that I'm able to have amazing moments, even though I'm a bit not so comfortable, basically, right now, these days. And so I decided to just do more, to make attempts to learn from the stupidity of my stupidity, to learn from my stupidity, basically, and just play, not just have the absolute perfect result the first time you ever tried. Because that's the thing, I just decided to start trying, and I'm saying, why not? Just play alongside with it. It's not something serious. And the moment it becomes too serious, it's just something that must be changed when it comes to perspective. Because that's also the thing, that I took life so seriously. I just decided not to, because I always took whatever I wanted. And even though I can't say that I'm satisfied and full of life because I have seen and learned everything I ever wanted to learn, well, now I'm saying, hey, everything is the same in a way. And it can be all directly correlated to the way we think. And so I just decided for all the times, almost, just choose the way you like without necessarily being wrong or untrue. And so this is the thing, that in the end, who cares? Who cares? Just try to do more things for ourselves. Just try to learn. Just try to learn how to love how to live, basically, how to accept death, how to handle adversity and difficult people many times, how to self-reflect. I'm using it personally a lot because I'm trying to just write as much as I can and basically write down the thought and basically throw it back to the self that recognized the thought and constantly doing such things and constantly write, watching the thought, write, watching the thought and write as much as I can and reflect and scan me as much as I can. And so basically, I'm just a guy who just decides to not necessarily go for more when it comes to material things, even though that could turn out to be a result of mine. But more like that, I just don't want to be afraid about stupid things. I just want to be the freest man I could possibly get, the freest person, and say that, hey, you know what? Even though I failed at many things, I also tried. And that's the thing that matters to me the most. And for me personally, that happened way much easier when I prioritize and just say that I did the things that I ever wanted to do and learned the things that I ever wanted to learn. And that gave me basically the more energy, the more courage to just go ahead and get and hunt for something less significant. Now that I know that I hunted the hardest parts for me, the most difficult, most important things are now done, are now conquered in a way, but not really. Are just, oh, okay, now I see, now I see, and now since that I see, I have much less to lose, and I think it's time for me to just associate my time with trying to learn more and educate myself more and basically try to have fun even though there are difficult times, because life goes on. And this is just a decision of mine to say that, hey, even though everything can be horrible many times, not always, that does not mean that this is going to be the permanent state of events. And so that's going to be my video for today, basically to just try to enjoy ourselves even at the hardest of times and prioritize your absolute most important things and experiences and wisdom as your first things, and basically if you get them, use them basically as tools, as your partners, their wisdom, your skills, as someone to help you far beyond, because it's just such a shame when we have so much courage, so much happiness in life, and we just do not dare. And I'm just, no, I want to be someone who dares, even if it seems the stupidest thing. And it is the stupidest things because I do not know anything. And basically, your attempts to seem like an idiot, basically, to try and seem like an idiot, can be a foundation of wisdom. And I don't really know what this means. I just heard this line and I suddenly fall in love with it, and basically I'm just trying to make this work. Anyway, this is going to be my video for today. Our experiences should be there for us, and basically try to do new things for our basically freedom, and dare to live lives that we would not regret in a way. So that's going to be the video for today. I thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you next time. Bye, and thank you so much for your time.